There you go. He beat me to it. Alright, I'll be right back.
Man.
Hey, Ellis.
Welcome to the party.
So sorry about that, everyone. Is everybody here?
Yep.
I don't see... There he is. Ellis, can you please say something for me? Can you say a sentence for me?
I once drove my car straight into the mouth of a volcano.
Alright. And
Can't
Clarion?
say it without laughing.
Clarion, can you also?
What?
Could you please say a sentence? I'm adjusting volumes.
A sentence on adjusting volumes.
Alright, thank you.
I don't know about everybody else, but Ellis is really quiet for me.
He is.
I had to turn him down, actually, because he was very loud.
I once drove my my car into the mouth of a volcano, but it was like fire resistant, so it didn't blow up entirely. And then there was this whole idea with my mother, who was really angry at me for breaking the car, and she was... Now I have to pay mortgage on the house for like 2 weeks. Who knew, right? Mothers.
He's at 200%. I can barely hear him.
Wow, that's weird. I have him at 80 and I hear him just fine.
For me, it's the same thing, actually.
Uh-oh.
What
Yeah,
about you?
I mean,
My mic should be... It's at max volume.
check the Discord setting under voice and video.
Yeah, it is. It's
Huh.
it's on max under the Discord.
Very strange.
Oh, let me restart my Discord then.
Yeah, I actually left and came back just to see if it would change, and he still sounds the same.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I can hear you, Ellis, so if I have to repeat, I will repeat. Not a problem. Hope everyone had a good 2 weeks since we've last played. Hope everyone is coming up with ideas of what to do next. So, the last we left off, you guys had recently unveiled the now renovated Trollskull Manor and had your first grand opening. Everything went extremely well. And then shortly after which, you guys had rested for the evening and then awoke to a extreme bit of chaos as a fireball had erupted in the middle of the street, causing a lot of damage and destruction. Multiple bodies had been left charred and lying face down onto the ground. You guys immediately rushed out to the scene to try to assess the situation, and discovered a number of things, spoke to a number of witnesses on the scene. Having heard from a nearby neighbor that a strange individual had lumbered off going towards the bent nail, you all decided to rush down that way to investigate, upon which you had found a sewer entrance in your alley. You guys delved into the sewer and attempted to retrace the footsteps of whatever may have traversed down that sewer. You had navigated your way through the sewers for a good portion of time and then stumbled upon a crack within the foundation of the sewer itself, revealing a smaller antechamber, if you will. Upon entering into the room, you had encountered several hostile entities and what appeared to be some more living pieces of trash that attacked you guys on sight. Tizio, having a very close call, was thankfully rescued from the clutches of said magical trash, and immediately afterwards, once the hostilities had subdued, you guys took a moment to try to catch your breaths. So we pick up where you guys are still currently within the sewer of Waterdeep. What do you guys wish to do?
We're still underground, right? In that room.
Correct. You are still in the sewers, having now caught your breath after a very near-death experience for Tizio.
Did we get him?
The trash? Yes, we killed it.
Yeah, just barely.
Yeah. I'm gonna look at Perry and just be like, I think I gotta make some modifications to this.
To what?
The suit.
Oh, okay. What are you hoping to do?
Perhaps make it so I don't get as hit so easily.
Hmm.
So are we going on, or?
Well, there's a chest we need to look at.
You guys need me to open a chest for you?
Yes, Ellis, I think that's probably a job for you.
Great. Take out my hammer. And I'll go over to whatever chest they're pointing at.
Okay,
You
so
know-
go ahead.
You're not gonna just try and open it? Just gonna smash it, huh?
Oh. Do you guys not even know if it's locked?
Oh, it's locked.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Is it like trapped or anything? Should I be worried?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
poked it a little bit. It didn't bite.
If you
Great.
want Ellis to try to take a moment to look at it, you can.
I mean, if they think it's good, I think it's good. So I'm
Okay.
just gonna try and smash the lock.
Sure, go ahead and roll an attack roll.
Maul.
Okay, so you rear back with your maul, holding it in both hands, and you come slamming down onto this thick iron padlock that seems to be situated on top of this wooden chest, and you slam into it, and you can hear it kind of, and you watch as it gets bent slightly, but it didn't snap off.
Can I man, I don't know, do I hit it again?
It's up to you.
I'm gonna hit it again.
Sure, go ahead and roll another attack roll.
This time, recklessly.
Sure. Okay. And
Yeah.
the second time you kind of look at it, you go, huh? And you this time you kind of like baseball bat it, and you slam into the center of the chest, and this time now the entire top half of the chest seems to smash and crumble into pieces. Go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw for me.
These are my favorite.
Come
Ha!
on.
Okay, so you watch as in the mid swing you slam into the top of this wooden chest, and the lock snaps in two along with pieces of wood and debris as it goes flying off, and you see this large puff of purplish green smoke just kind of hit you in the face, but you were thankfully holding your breath as you like took in that larger swing, and you wait and step back a few moments as the smoke kind of dissipates, and as you guys kind of peer inside, you see what appears to be a very thick leather brown satchel.
Guys, you told me it would be safe. Come on, you gotta give me some better warning next time.
You're still fine.
Oh, yeah, well, that's because I'm amazing.
Yeah, so safe for you.
I will reach inside and take out the leather thing.
Sure.
One of your magic folks know what this does, or is it magic? Does it have any runes on it?
It does not have any runes on it. It appears to just be a very worn, older-looking brown leather satchel.
Do you want me to take a look, Alice?
Yeah, I guess that would be wise. Part of me just wants to stick my hand into it, but I would like my hand to, like, still be a hand. So, yeah, make sure it doesn't bite me or something.
Okay. Identify or Arcana check to see if it's magical before we waste 10 minutes or something. I don't know.
You can make an Arcana check. Go ahead. Okay. You take a look at the bag, and without sticking your hand into it, it doesn't appear to be magical or anything in nature. I mean, it looks like a dirty leather satchel.
Have we opened it? Or is it literally just...
It's just
We've
kind of
not
like
opened
pulled.
it.
It's pulled closed with a drawstring and kind of like loosely knotted. It can be undone and opened.
What's inside, Val?
I'm gonna identify it, just in case.
Okay. You spend 10 minutes. Okay. You spend 10 minutes sitting down. Everyone's just kind of catching their breath, and after a few moments, time passes. You identify this as a bag of holding.
I turn it inside out.
Okay. So you all watch as after Talum is done staring at this object for about 10 minutes, and you guys are getting a little impatient. Then he just kind of stands up and just folds the bag in on itself, and you watch as several items just start clattering to the floor. You see that there are what appear to be... One second. 5...
Uh,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. No, I was just. I think I turned my mic up. Can you guys hear me any better?
Yeah, you're a lot louder.
You
Very
sound,
much, yeah.
You sound great.
Great, awesome.
You see as 5 translucent light green and deep green gemstones clatter to the ground and start like clattering and rolling away. You see what appears to be a very finely carved dagger, and you also see what appears to be 2 rocks that kind of like tumble down into your feet, and you kind of look at them and you hold them, and the rocks are kind of like carved almost to resemble small faces with like large lips.
A goodie full of goodies.
I did do that, Tizio, thank you.
So, we found all these things and a magic bag.
Is this not typical for sewers, in my experience at least?
I mean, every time we come down here, we find something interesting.
How many times have you been down here?
This is the second. Last time we found Floon.
Can I take a look around for? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say there's like nothing in the bag that would give us clues as to who this fireball perpetrator is.
Unfortunately, after Talum had taken the bag and turned it inside out, all the things that fell out were what I had just described: a dagger, what appeared to be 2 stones, and then what did I say? 5 green or deep green gems.
Does the dagger have like any symbols on it that might like tie it to a certain guild or house within the city?
Make an intelligence check.
Ava will collect the gems while he's doing that.
You bet. Go ahead and mark that in. So no symbols that you recognize that would correlate to any kind of guild or gang affiliation that you're aware of, but you do immediately recognize that on the hilt of this, it's not jewel encrusted, but it's a very finely made silver dagger with a bronze hilt, and etched into the hilt is the Waterdeep crest.
I don't know what this means, guys. I'm not a very good detective. Hey, wait a minute. Back up.
Compare it,
Don't-
just see if it's finally made or.
Sure.
Don't we know a detective? I swear along our journey somewhere we've met a detective. Why don't we go talk to him?
Because we impulse ran into the sewers?
Oh,
And he charges by the hour.
That too.
true.
Looking around the room, is there anywhere... Are there any other passages or anything? Or have we fully fleshed out?
Give me one second. Perry, make an intelligence check. This would be like with your crafting tools, so I'd say you'd have advantage on it since you're inspecting craftsmanship. It's not really a skill check for that. Okay.
Oh, I guess it was more to see if it was like a +1 or just.
Right, which is what we're doing here. Yeah, you take a look at it, and with that roll, yeah, it is a +1 dagger. So it is extremely well made.
Is this would be better than a regular dagger if someone uses daggers?
Talum, make a perception check.
Perception, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you take a few minutes to kind of look around the room. You have your light spell out on like a stone or rock or something. You're just kind of looking around the 2 chambers that seem to be somewhat connected together. Other than the brick that has caved inward towards this chamber, you're not seeing any other exits or passages. You do notice that there's like a very small, like 2-foot gap towards the southern end of this chamber. It's maybe like 2 feet tall and maybe a foot wide. It appears to be maybe some kind of like air duct or something. You're not entirely sure, but it's really small to fit through.
Gotcha.
Would it be easy for a halfling to get through it?
No. It's
Oh.
literally like 2 foot by 1 foot.
What about a
A
bat?
bird? Oh, there you go.
Your bat could maybe squeeze through it. Wouldn't be able to fly through it.
Well, we'll see how far it can get.
Sure. Go ahead and make a acrobatics check for your bat.
Sure.
As he tries to clamber his way through this little bit of tunnel.
14.
Okay. So you kind of look through your bat's eyes, and as it kind of scurries and shuffles its way through this very, very narrow bit of tunnel, and it kind of slants down a little bit as it goes in maybe 10, 15 feet or so, and then it comes upon this intersection of left and right, and you kind of peer around both corners, and then it just kind of stops maybe about 5 feet in each direction. What's your bat's AC?
It's gonna be 12.
12. Give me 1 second.
1 hit point.
Yeah, 1 hit point. You don't notice it, unfortunately, with the... Oh, actually, no, it didn't make a perception check. Go ahead and make a perception check. We'll see if you notice it.
I mean, I wasn't looking for chaff, so probably.
No, it's not a trap.
Oh, okay. 12.
12. Okay. Yeah, I'd say you notice it in time, but you watch as you kind of look left and then look right, and then you see that there is a small pack of rats that immediately turn at the presence and sound of your bat, and immediately start like charging at it, ready to strike. So it's about to like bite you. You have the opportunity to kind of snap it out if you wish.
Yeah, I'll do that then.
Thankfully, you rolled high enough. But it appears to have been just a small burrowed tunnel of some sort.
Interesting. Nothing much back there, just a bunch of rats.
Gather it might have been where the rest of the rats came from.
Let's turn back then. There's no forward.
I don't relish jumping over that water again. Is there another way out that we've passed?
You didn't see any like service ladders or anything where you guys currently were, but I mean you can continue traveling elsewhere. When you
Yeah,
guys
there's still a path forward, right? We were kind of on the side, but we could keep going
Yeah,
straight.
so what you guys noticed were you were in a very larger, like 15-foot wide, maybe 10-foot high, half dome of a tunnel system. You gather it was one of the larger tunnel systems here, and that's where you guys saw in the distance this small alcove, and then you guys were able to cross over a bridge leading to this side to allow you guys access into the alcove. The tunnel still extends to the south and back up north the way you guys came.
I say we keep going at least until we find a better way out.
You guys don't mind if we take a rest here or anything like that, as Tiziel's just like holding onto his ribs.
That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Sure. Who else was hurt?
I mean, I'm pretty gross. That
So-
thing was chewing on me for quite a bit.
Hooray for bards for short rests. Anyone who uses hit dice gets an extra 1d6 back.
No, it saves me a little too spell then.
So yeah, so if you guys are going to sit and take a short rest, you can easily do so. Go ahead and roll your hit dice to heal back up.
In the sewer? We're spending a short rest in the sewer?
If you guys want.
Hell
like a
yeah.
half hour.
This is my home.
Why would this be your home?
What? That was just a figure of speech.
You'll just see Perry in that corner casting Druidcraft every once in a while to make it smell better.
I, if the smell wasn't already on your clothes and in your mouth, it probably would help. But it almost feels as if, you know, you're adding a thick cloud of perfume on top of, you know, dumpster diving for a week.
Pleasant.
You sprayed the poopery after you pooped.
Exactly. Nice roll. It is a single d6 at the end of the short rest, I believe.
Yeah, it's a D6. Oh, it's not a 6.
Yeah, so you get an extra d6 at the end. Okay, so you guys spend about an hour or so here, just kind of keeping your guys as protected as possible as you kind of bandage yourself up and take a moment to catch your breath. Is there a plan of action? What are you guys trying to do?
So, Ava, you wanted to head south, see if we can find another exit?
Better than crossing that sewage again. Were there any signs of the 2 weeks have erased my memory? Were there any signs of the trek? Did the treks head toward the alcove? Did we still see any signs of what we were initially following?
Make a survival check. You guys followed the tracks from your sewer to this alcove, and taking a look at them again, the tracks didn't necessarily, because the rolls you had previously weren't. I mean, they were good, and they were telling you that something was there, especially among the slosh. But now that you're taking a moment to kind of retrace your thought process and look at these, most of these tracks look like they were leading to the service entrance that you guys had came down. So it doesn't appear like something had went down this way and traversed into this alcove. It's the inverse. You guys were basically backtracking.
Do they keep going, or do they end here?
They appear to have ended there. So you take a look around to the left and right of the alcove, and you can see the tracks that led you into the alcove, but you're not seeing any other tracks that would have led into another direction.
So we could wander aimlessly, or head back to where we know.
Maybe there's a secret entrance.
If we follow the main sewer line, we should find a ladder up soon.
Hopefully.
Is that what you guys are gonna do?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, so, and you do. You spend maybe another 5 or 10 minutes or so just continuing on southward, and you do end up eventually coming across, down this longer tunnel system, another service ladder that appears to be leading up to the surface above. As you guys make your way, I assume, up through the ladder, you find yourselves right at the intersection of Solmnor Street and the High Road, which is down about here. And you kind of get
What time of day is it?
taking a look around at the sun, with everything happening so fast, and you guys taking a short rest, it's probably about midday. But as you guys kind of work your way up, you exit out of the sewer system, and thankfully you're off on a not entirely busy intersection like it would be on the high road itself. This service entrance seems to be tucked off to the side a little bit, and you do get a large number of looks as you know, a number of individuals start pouring out of the sewer, and people kind of stop and they stare at you for a moment, and they kind of look around, start pointing and gesturing.
Routine maintenance, nothing to see here. Sewers are still sewery.
Make a deception check.
I think that might be 1 sec.
I mean, we were just cleaning up the trash.
Yeah, so 16.
Okay. They kind of look at you and scoff in your direction, but then don't really pay you too much mind as you're not causing a ruckus or anything, so they just kind of keep their distance. But you guys manage to work your way back out into the city streets.
Well, let's head back and get cleaned up. Get this stench off me. It was a waste of time. Since I guess the dagger was nice to find though.
Yeah, the bag.
Yeah, the bag's pretty nice find.
Whatever these are, she's going to toss one of the translucent stones to Perry. Any
Sure.
chance this is more valuable than the last?
Can Perry try and determine the value?
Yeah.
guess I am a jewel crafter. Never mind. I should know what that is.
Yeah, you actually you grab it and you take a look at it for a few moments. It appears to be jade.
Jade, you say?
Hmm.
A fine piece of jade.
You guys have about 5 of them, and you guesstimate by the quality of it. It'd probably fetch you about 100 gold apiece.
How big are these jades?
I would say they're probably about, yeah, maybe a little bit smaller than palm size.
Who's Paul?
Talam's palm.
What race is Talon again?
He's a human.
Human.
It still varies wildly.
It does.
An adult male.
If you want measurements, we'll say it's about they're various sizes, so, but the largest one appears to be about maybe 2.5 inches by about an inch.
I guess what I'd be wondering is if you remember my request from 75 years ago when we.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
So
Could that be used?
from your conversation with the jewel smith or the jewel crafter who said that they could commission that for you, that I think you had already paid a little bit of the upfront, did you not?
No, I paid nothing.
Okay, because he had said that normally working with bits of jade is harder because you can't really meld jade back together once it's already been cut down to a size. He would have to find a larger block of jade and shape it into the dragon statue. So you gather that these probably could be used to make jewelry or some kind of accoutrement or something, but it wouldn't be able to be reshaped into a statue.
Alright.
But nevertheless, they're very beautiful looking pieces of jade.
You can probably make a keychain out of it.
Not bad for the coin.
What if we got cleaned up down at the yawning portal and talked to our friend at the Zents, considering they were tied up in this?
My vote's that, or figure out where Flume was going.
Oh yeah, we have that to chase too.
One trust him.
Either way, a bath's in order.
Yes. Although I'm more worried about the fireball nearby than the flume.
Since I wasn't being eaten by garbage or I didn't fall into any sewer water, how bad do I smell compared to the rest?
I mean,
Like, is a
Not-
bath
not
and armor
as-
cleaning in order for me?
that is up to your discretion. I mean, Talam has prestidigitation, which can clean off most of you guys within a few minutes.
I'm gonna use my magical tinkering and just kind of reach into my satchel and just kind of combine a couple components to give off like a I don't know, like a cologne type scent.
Okay, easy enough to do.
Oh, if press will take the smell off, then what Ava's gonna start pressing everyone too.
I imagine it cleans up any kind of smell or any kind of like soot that you guys might have on you lingering, so should easily enough do the trick.
We do that.
Perfect. So you guys are standing there on the corner as you guys trying to patiently wait for Talum to finish tidying you all up. Feeling more confident about yourselves? Where do you guys wish to go?
And I guess talking to the Zents scumbag wouldn't be a bad idea.
Found a couple of them dead laying outside by the fireball, so you never know what we turn up.
So I'll just say, like, maybe we wouldn't have to pay that detective guy because it's not really our issue, but if he wants to help the city, he might actually like already have some intel as far as what's going on, depending on where he's at. So we could try and find that guy if we wanted to. Just saying.
It's true. Lots of options.
So what's the plan?
Wanna go sell these gems? Jade, not really gems.
Okay.
Sure, let's start there.
Where's there?
Selling the gems. Do we know anyone where the location of a jeweler nearby?
You can make an investigation check and try to find one.
It's not my forte, but I will try. I have not found one.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not entirely hard to find one. It's just the investigation check is how long it would take you guys to find it. So as you guys kind of wander around the streets for a little bit in the North Ward, trying to talk to various individuals, you end up spending probably the better part of an hour, hour and a half or so looking around to see if anyone knows of a good jeweler. And with that being said, let me pull up that list.
I'll also mention to them the oh gosh, where is it at right now? From the ones that I know, the rare and wondrous treasures shop at the Castle Ward.
Yeah, actually, that would work too. So you guys can make your way over to the Castle Ward and talk to Balthor at the Balthor's Rare and Wondrous Treasure Shop.
Where's the Zentarum? Is that in the right direction?
That is in the opposite direction. Well, no, I mean it's going that way. So if you're going, Castle Ward's over here. The Yawning Portal is to the left of the Trades Ward mark. So yeah, I can take you down that way. It's on the Balthor's shop is on the Street of Swords and Selduth Streets. So.
And the detective guy's back home, right? Or
Vincent Trench lives in your guys' alley. Yep. So let's pull your little icon. Balthor's shop is right about here-ish. A little south. Right there. And so yeah, so you guys can easily make your way over to the shop, and as you guys enter into the store here, you can see that there is a large variety of like various curios here. You see various different coins and gems. You see that there is a very pristine looking gentleman that sits on the behind the counter inside the shop, and he goes, welcome welcome to Balthor's Rare and Wondrous Treasures. My name is Balthor the Bold, at your service. How may I help you today?
I have a few pieces of jade to sell, and she'll put the 5 on the table and then glance back at Perry. And is anyone going to use the dagger, or do you want to keep that?
Well, there's always a good use for a
And
dagger.
technically, a +1 would be considered a magic weapon, or something that would affect something that's immune or resistant to normal attacks.
Correct.
I suppose actually my sword is +1 right now, technically, so never mind.
Okay. So you guys trying to sell the dagger as well?
I have no qualms about selling it.
Okay. So
At least
yeah.
get a price on it.
So I mean, Balthor introduces himself, and he kind of gives you guys a rundown on the ins and outs of his shop, and you know, we explaining to you guys that they have a wide selection of various tokens and gems and regalia from all over the Sword Coast and even beyond. You can see that there are various different like uniforms and what appear to be like, some of them are military customed, some of them are just what appear to be very what's the word I'm looking for, distinct from the Sword Coast. Like they appear to be from far off lands with their various different intricate colors and knitted designs. He scoops up the gems in front of you, and he watches. He grabs a small magnifying glass and he starts to inspect the pieces each. And after a few moments, he'll look at you and respond like, "Well, these are some very quality fine pieces of jade here. You're looking to sell all of them?"
Yes.
Sure are.
Okay, well, I think for the 5 pieces altogether, I think I could muster about 500 gold for you. How does that sound?
Perfect.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you watch as he grabs behind his counter, and he starts pulling out a couple pieces of gold and platinum to the equivalent of 500 gold, and hands it over to you guys. And then he watches as you guys have had the small conversation between yourselves about the dagger, and then you present the dagger, Eva, and he goes, "Well, as much as I would love to appraise something like that, I've already spent a large selection of my coin for the day on purchases from these gems. You might want to go check someone else that might be able to purchase that off your hands."
Understood. Thank you for your help.
Oh, it's my pleasure. If there's anything I can do for you, please have a look around.
Well, it wouldn't hurt to have a good dagger laying around.
I could use it in a pinch, just seems a bit of a waste.
Well, they don't go for very much, even nice quality ones.
We can always hang on to it for now and sell it if we need the cash later.
Fair enough. Out of character. 500 is not divisible by 6. How are we doing this?
Invisible, just not evenly.
Well, I can't do right 0.3 repeating of a gold.
Just give someone the rounded down.
That's fair.
What would it be easier if we just take some of that and put it towards
So you
the
just
end, and then whatever's easiest to split it that way?
I was gonna say just take 50 each, and the rest can go to the end,
That's fine
or
with me.
or 60, whatever you with them. 68, whatever. Cool.
If we do 60 each, it's 140 to the end.
There you go.
I'll propose that.
Yep.
Done.
Alrighty.
If no one objects, Ava will carry the dagger since she will use it in the pinch.
Sure.
You never know. Daggers are good for concealing.
Excellent. So as you all distribute the money amongst yourselves and you determine who's gonna hold on to the dagger and the bag, and then you guys gather your belongings, you're making your way to the awning portal.
I assume Dallin will carry the bag.
I don't care. That's fine with me. But if somebody else wants it, that's fine.
Yes, no, but I don't know what the bag is for.
The bag is for putting other bags in it.
All right.
Thanks for carrying all of our sweet loot.
But not living things.
Living things for a minute or so.
I guess if you want to sneak somebody or quickly.
Or if we don't care if they stay living.
Also that. In conclusion,
Yawning portal. Yawning portal.
Yawning portal.
let's go.
Yawning portal.
All
Talk
right.
to, what is his name? Durnan?
Durnan.
Durger? Yeah.
Whoa.
It's the only D name
No,
I remember now.
Davil. Davil's its name.
Oh. Shit.
One of the 1,000. So, as you guys make your way further into the castle ward, finding yourselves upon the familiar door of the Yawning Portal, you step inside to the warm lit interior of this very tall 3-story building, and it is extremely jam-packed with patrons, as it normally is around this time of day. You can see that there are a large number of individuals all scurrying about, having drinks and eating food, laughing, talking. There's music being played in various different parts of the tavern. Calarian, you see Durnan over in the corner just kind of wiping down one of the bar tables after having cleared it off. He just kind of nods in your direction. Who wants to make a perception check for Dabble? Okay. You take a look on the first floor where you guys are at, and you can see that there are currently a very large number of people that are just kind of hustling and bustling through. You see a couple of the barmaids that are passing out drinks and food to other people, and then you kind of shift your eyes up towards the second and third floors, and from this angle you're not seeing Davil sitting anywhere, but it appears that you can see Yagra is currently just kind of sitting in a corner on her own, just drinking, staring into her cup.
Don't see Davil anywhere, but Yagra's over there. Looks a bit lonesome.
Well, she'll at least point us in the right direction, considering they're companions.
I will approach her.
What time of day is it?
What day is it? It is...
Time.
Oh, time. About midday right now. I had an answer to the first one. But anyway, yeah, it's about midday right now, about lunchtime or so. So it's relatively, and you would know this, Calarian, usually pretty packed during this time of day.
Okay, I was just thinking more and I guess we didn't really discuss anything. Are we gonna try and get back to the inn for opening today, or it's gonna try and let it run itself?
I'm fine just letting it run itself, but
because you'd also said before that it was it's not gonna be like a regular thing at this moment. Like the grand opening amount of people we had is not gonna be a regular thing at this time.
You're not entirely
So
sure.
upgrade.
I mean, you guys had a very large outpouring of people for the grand opening. It was only the first night. You don't know if that's going to be a continual stream of customers. You're not entirely sure.
Okay. I never thought about hiring more people.
You haven't determined that yet, to the best of my knowledge.
But I have not. But to be fair, the explosion happened the day after, so.
Yep. You guys got a little preoccupied. you were talking about hiring additional staff. You had talked with Vanessa, and she had said, obviously, if that's the kind of rush that they're going to expect, then yeah, more hands would help.
Yep.
So, Eva, you make your way up the spiral staircase, and you walk over to the small round table that is currently just a single chair with Yager Stonefist just sitting there, just not necessarily looking sad or depressed or anything, but just kind of absentmindedly staring into her tankard, and she kind of notices you as you approach, and she looks up, and you see her eyes kind of go from this glossed over appearance to kind of more stern and steady in your direction. He goes, "Oh, it is you again. What can I do for you?"
Looking for Davil. Any chance you seen him lately?
There's a pause, and her eyes kind of shift a little bit. Looking around, she sees the rest of you. Are you guys kind of going up there with her?
Yeah, I would be, yeah.
Yeah, so she kind of, her eyes shift to the group of you as you all start approaching the table, and she kind of looks around and she goes, "No, I haven't seen the boss in a day or two." "What do you need him for?" "Yes, it's Matt Mercer."
There was a fireball outside our house and a couple dead Zents turned up. Wondering if you knew anything about that?
"I heard there was some commotion this morning in the North Ward. I didn't know it was so close to your home. Zhentarim, you say? Did you happen to see their faces?"
I don't know.
Did we?
I mean, you
I feel like we looked pretty closely.
You did. You were able to
were
recognize they were charred. Absolutely.
They were a bit charred from the fire, and then she will. I did not take notes on their appearance. She will describe anything she recalls about what they look like.
Okay. She tries to muster a mental image in her mind as you're describing the individuals, and she's like, I'm sorry, this doesn't sound like anyone familiar to me. I'm not sure. Where are the... Have the City Watch collected the bodies yet?"
Yes, they have, I believe so.
This is most disturbing. I was not aware of any incursions that might have been going on in your neighborhood. I'm not entirely sure what to make of this. It's a little out of my scope.
It seemed they might have just been passing through, as it were, when things heated up.
Well, unfortunately, I do not know what has been going on there. I've been stationed here for the past couple days now. I have not really left this area. Probably be best for you to talk to Davil, but I do not know where he is. No one has seen him.
Does this happen often, or is this kind of unique? Him disappearing for a couple days.
It's the first time that I did not know about it. I do not entirely know what is going on. But not to worry, I'm sure he is just fine. He sees things before others see them. He is very, very good at planning for our future. So I trust that he knows what he is doing, and if he needed help from one of us, he would say so without doubt.
Assuming he's still breathing to ask.
You watch as her face gets a little more angry, and she stands up when you say this. And she's like, "Davil is a strong man. He would not be the leader of the Zhentarim if he were not so strong."
Of course, our apologies. We're a bit shell-shocked. Building exploded just across the street this morning. left us all jumpy.
She kind of sits back down and just kind of looks at the group of you and she goes, "Is it all you were looking for was Devil? Is there anything I can help you with?"
Do you know anything about a puppet without strings? I think that's what the phrase was.
Probably would have wanted to elaborate a little bit more.
I don't remember how many details we had on it in this topic.
We were told that the woman who saw it said the person who did it looked like a puppet without strings. Didn't look like a human.
Okay, and as you guys are kind of collaborating that information to Yagura, she looks back and she goes, "Oh, I mean, it sounds a little familiar. I couldn't say I would know something personally about it, but it sounds like something that would be on display during the Day of Wonders."
What's that?
Give me 1 second to pull up the notes, because I got it somewhere. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. Ba-ba-ba-ba. My computer's so slow. Come on. Okay, there it is.
Why are you looking at the back? No, never mind.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, I knew where it was. It just wouldn't go to the page. So Yager kind of looks at you and she goes, "Well, the Day of Wonders. It is when the Temple of Gon, they parade around the streets of Waterdeep, and they show off the newest inventions that they've created throughout the year of their hard work over in their temple. It's quite an attraction. It usually brings out a lot of the vendors and children and even the curious folk among the city streets. They all like to stand on the sides as they parade their way through Waterdeep, showing off any of the curious inventions that they've had. I've seen through my time various things like flying machines and contraptions. I've even seen metal men that seem to be walking around on their own, like a puppet with no strings."
Would they be willing to talk to us, or are they more the secretive bunch?
No, I don't think they're secretive at all. I mean, they parade around with the things that they invent to get attention for themselves. If I recall correctly, their temple is located somewhere in the Sea Ward. Best to maybe check down there. I think somewhere near the Sea Watch, but I cannot be too sure. I'm not a believer of such things.
Well, thank you. We'll keep you posted.
Of course, and if I see Devil anywhere, I will let him know what's going on.
Very helpful. Thank you.
We scratch each other's backs, yeah?
Yes.
April smile.
You see as she kind of lets out a grin, and you can see one of her larger tusks on one side just kind of peers out from behind her lip.
So is she half orc or just full orc?
She's a half orc.
Okay.
So what's the plan?
So what we have left is the detective dude and I guess now that temple. Maybe they know something.
I may have missed it, but did she say when this thing's going on?
The Day of Wonders?
Yeah.
Let me pull up the calendar for that.
If she didn't, I'm pretty sure Tizio would know.
Correct. You have probably seen it too, Tizio. The Day of Wonders happens on Marpinoth the 3rd, which is in human terms. May, June, July, August, September, October. It happens in October of every year.
And what month are we in?
You're in March.
So a bit of time.
Oh, actually, you're in May. Yeah, you're in May right now.
Doesn't really help.
Not a bad thought, but it feels like that's not really related, most likely.
Maybe we should check out this the Temple of Gun.
Yeah, maybe they sold a convention to someone or something. I don't know.
Or I mean, they're basically conventions and stuff, so they probably have a better idea what the hell we're talking about. Instead of accosting random people on the street, we're like, hey, how about that strings? You seen it?
I like that idea, though.
I think we would also need a bit more information versus a, something that looks like a puppet without strings. That can be a lot of different
Well,
things.
she's talking about a metal man that sounds like it, and can walk around on its own.
I don't think it would hurt to go talk to them.
Well, I'll go talk to the private eye and see if he maybe knows something. If anyone else wants to go do that.
Bring your wallet.
Good thing I just made some money.
Okay, so what's the plan, guys?
Sounds like a couple of us are going to the temple, a couple of us are going to the detective.
Split
Perry.
Split the party.
Yep, Perry will go to the private eye.
It's gonna be so good when this works in against you guys one day.
When the
Split the
dragon
party?
attack-
Yeah, splitting the party.
I mean, we're just information seeking and going to a reputable detective and temple of a goodly god, so I can't imagine.
I'm all for it. All
It's
for it.
gonna break out into death.
I don't know. The building across the street wasn't about to break out in death until it did.
We're fine.
We're good. Maybe we'll go to the temple.
Yeah. So, just as a note, as you guys are having your conversation, Tizio kind of says, "Oh yeah, the Day of Wonders. It's a parade that happens every quote unquote October throughout the city of Waterdeep, where the temple of the House of Inspired Hands, which is a temple to Gond, who is the god of hard work, labor, and inventing of things. These priests will bring their finished creations out into the streets to parade for people to see their hard works and just to kind of revel in the moment. Due to a lot of the experimental nature of these inventions, it was very common for devices to kind of fall apart and disrupt a lot of the celebration as it was happening, because they put a lot of time and energy into these things. Didn't always work out the way they wanted it to. But it was always a good spectacle to watch. But yeah, you guys gather up your things. Perry, you're going by yourself back to the house?
If that's no one else is coming with.
I'll go with Perry or with Clarion. I don't really mind. Nobody should go alone.
Well, that was both directions, so which one?
I'll go with Perry then.
Alright. Anybody else?
We could split in threes evenly, just in case the detective turns out to be, from the Nine Hells or something.
Clarion, I don't know.
What?
So what are the directions? We have options. What's everyone? Someone's going back to our bar.
Detective and temple.
Oh, detective and temple. I'm going to detective. Just because I mentioned it and I feel obligated to.
Sounds good. Okay. Tizio said he's going to head over towards the Temple of Gond.
That leaves Ava.
I said temple already.
Oh, sorry. Okay, cool. So you guys all bid Yagra farewell, and you gather up whatever things you might have set down for the moment, and you head back out of the Yoni portal.
Yep.
Bring you over. Now, Tizio, you have never been over there before. None of you have. So, who wants to roll an investigation check to try to find that place?
You need to
I'll
play
go
some
for it.
Blues Clues music.
I guess I can roll. Never mind.
Okay. Don't tempt me, Tizio. Or Tal, I'm sorry. We just discovered a temple. We just discovered a temple. Alright, so, I can't believe you got this stuck in my head. As you guys start looking around the castle ward and you start talking to a couple other individuals, you catch hold of one of the city watch within the castle ward, and they kind of look at you and they go, "Oh, you're looking for the House of Inspired Hands? It's no problem. It's down or up in the Sea Ward. You can find it over on Shark Street near the corner of Sea Watch Street. You can't miss it. It's a very large contraption. It looks like a cross between a temple and a workshop. Just look for the symbol of the cog. You can't miss it." And so you guys start heading up that way. Let me pull it up on the map. Of course it doesn't want to move. Come on, icon. Do your thing. There it is. Alright. So it is right here, actually. So it'll take you guys probably about a better hour or so to ask around, find your way up to the temple. And then what you see before you is exactly like the City Watch described. You see a large temple with huge stained glass windows that in its overall construction kind of looks like a large cathedral, but then at the same time there are various strange bits of clockwork and machinery on different parts of the exterior of the temple. You can see that emblazoned right on one of the central pillars of this clock tower that is in the center of this temple, what appears to be a very large cog of some sort. Let me know if you guys can see that.
Yep.
Cool. So,
Looks like it's missing too many teeth.
sure. So, as you guys make your way over there, you kind of enter in through the large courtyard that is the temple entrance. And you can look and you see, at an even closer look now, there's this clock tower. And Tizio, you appreciate it very much how impressive it is that they were able to make something so intricate so high up into the air. And it captivates you for a moment. And let's see what your passive is. Yeah, you actually notice as you're staring up at the top of this clock tower what appears to be some sort of shadowy figure perched atop the top of the clock tower, and it just kind of looks down at you. you see the silhouette of this humanoid shape kind of perched up on the roof of this clock tower. And you watch as it extends an arm and releases some kind of tiny metal sparrow into the sky. And as you're watching it, this metallic bird just starts flapping its wings and circling around the top of the clock tower. And then it starts diving right towards you. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
All of us, or just Tizio?
Just Tizio. Okay. So you all watch as you're looking around the courtyard, and you see Tizio's just kind of looking up in awe, and he just kind of goes, "Oh shit," and he just dodges out of the way, and right between the three of you that are clustered there, you hear this loud and a smashing of metal on dirt. And you see this small pile of dirt just kind of kicks up in the air around you, and you kind of look down and you inspect it, and there appears to be this mechanical bird of some sort made of like just pure iron, and it just came crashing down right between the group of you.
So it didn't explode, it just crashed down.
It didn't explode, no. It kind of like just you specifically watched as it was like fluttering around, and then it just like went into a nosedive in your direction.
I'm gonna look back up there, and do I still see that figure?
Make a perception check. You do not see anything other than the very beautiful clock tower.
I'm gonna go ahead and collect the bird.
Okay.
It's an unusual way to welcome guests. Any chance you have history here, Tizio?
No, it's the first time I've been here. But it's taking a look around, like, is it crowded or anything like that? Like, would it have been unusual?
You're not entirely sure if it would be unusual, but there's currently no one in the courtyard but you guys. You can hear coming from the inside now that you guys are in the center courtyard, what sounds like a lot of familiar tinkering noises, hammer on nail, or the cutting of wood, or the occasional curse as someone might have, like, pinched their finger or something like that. But it sounds extremely busy, like a workshop inside.
Taking a quick look at the bird, no sign, like any markings on it, like a initials or brand of who would have made it or anything like that?
You can make an investigation check. Yeah, you take a very close look at the intricacies of this, and while the structure itself is pretty simplistic, it's just a lot of metal pieces that seem to have been carved out separately and then attached together. You don't see any kind of power source or anything that would have caused it to be motorized or functional in some way, but nevertheless you watched as it was fluttering around. You're not seeing any markings or anything other than what you can possibly make out is the letter N.
N as in Nancy?
Yep. It's very small. It's like roughly etched into the underside of one of the wings.
Sorry, I was writing my notes.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone that I know that has an N in it. I could be incorrect. Well, should we head on in, guys?
Yeah.
Let me adjust the volume on the song. Okay.
Ava will follow, but she is extremely wary now and looking around a bit nervously for additional birds that might dive bomb.
Sure, make a perception check.
I don't really expect to find anything.
Okay. So, I mean, you notice a couple things. So, as you guys are making your way inside to the main hall of this temple, um, you can definitely hear that the temple is abuzz with a lot of various tinkering activity going on. You hear a lot of what sounds to be like some kind of construction going on in various different um, rooms to the sides, but you don't see anyone directly. But what you do notice as you make your way up through the center stairs into the main chamber of this large cathedral, you see there are along a long stretch of carpet are about 12 or so like marble pedestals, and on the top of each of these pedestals are various different what appear to be like miniaturized inventions of some sort. As you guys are kind of working your way inside, you see, one of these inventions is like, give me 1 second. Because I had it. Where is it? Here we go. Yeah, so I knew I had text for this. So yeah, so as you cross the threshold of this magnificent cathedral-like structure, you are immediately stunned by its intricately designed interior. Bronze and wood archways seemingly stretch forever into a high canopy of rafters above. As you make your way inside, the in the entirety of the hall seems to be bathed in this multitude of colored light emanating from like ornately decorated stained glass windows that surround the walls of this cathedral. Continuing onward, you start working your way through the main chambers of the corridors, and upon seeing these marble pedestals, you can see a large number of various different things. You see things that appear to be like a 4-foot tall model of the clock tower that you guys are currently walking through. It appears to be made of like wood and iron, bronze and glass, and a mixture of these things delicately placed together. You see a strange wooden contraption that has like a seat for one individual, and on the sides of the seat appear to be some type of like canvas shaped like wings. And you can watch as the model like suddenly comes to life and it flaps in the air briefly and then rests gently back down on the pedestal. You see another, what appears to be this like 3-foot long creature representation of a creature that appears to be a turtle of some sort. Its jagged shell looks extremely sharp to the touch, and you can see its jaw snap open and closed every so often to reveal even sharper teeth inside. On this pedestal is a bronze plate that reads Big Belchy, sank in Deepwater Harbor on the Day of Wonders in 1363 DR. You see what appears to be like a normal helmet made of steel or silver, you're not too sure, and it just sits there motionless. The placard on this reads Walking Helmet. You also see what appears to be like a manta ray-like creature, painted red, but where its head would be appears to have some sort of glass plate. The brass plate affixed to its pedestal reads the Scarlet Marpenoth. It's a Lantanese submarine, and it was launched in 1489. As you guys are inspecting all of these strange oddities on the pedestals, a very tall, lithe female dragonborn wearing silk blue robes that fade to white upon their shoulders enters the chamber and addresses you, saying, "Each of these pedestals bear or represent one of our prize-winning inventions created here within the House of Inspired Hands. Praise be to Gon for sharing his knowledge of such things to us. Welcome, strangers. My name is Valetta, priestess of Gond and servant of the House of Inspired Hands. Do you wish to glean Gond's wisdom?"
Might be, but as a matter of introduction, does Gond usually launch tiny birds at his visitors?
She tilts her head a little bit to the side as she's like not entirely sure what you were talking about. Let me.
She's Just gonna kind of nod to Tizio.
Yeah, Tizio's gonna take out the bird, and yeah, this was launched into the air by the clock tower, and it fell straight towards me, causing quite a bit of damage back there.
So while you're in the middle of explaining this stuff, and you kind of reach up and hold this broken metal piece of bird in front of you, you watch as Valletta rushes over to you, and she grabs onto your arm and holding it into the air in wonder. She goes, "This is miraculous work. How did you create something so intricate?" And you watch as she immediately starts grabbing a pair of like these odd-shaped spectacles, like one's larger than the other, out of her robe, and she tries to like start looking at it closer. And then after a quick moment, she suddenly, like remembering herself, she says, I must apologize, truly. Gon seems to have favored you, young elf."
This old thing, it's a family heirloom.
Interesting. Well, you say something attacked you on the way here. And she kind of, now that she's recognizing you holding this piece in her hand, she kind of looks at it and she immediately goes, "Nim, I'm deeply sorry. It seems that someone," and she starts leaning her head up towards the rafters, "has caused something that's given you guys a bit of trouble."
Who is Nim?
Nim is a gift that has been given to us by a visiting Lantanese wizard many, many years ago. He is a Nimblewright. He is not... I guess I should just show you. And she kind of like beckons you forward.
Ava is gonna kind of, she'll follow, but she'll kind of just look around cautiously with this expression of, what the shit are these people doing here?
So
Tizio's like a kid in the candy store.
absolutely. So she takes the bird from you and she kind of pockets it inside of her robe, and she sighs again, and then she leads you all up a long spiral staircase up into an attic. And you watch as you approach the attic door, and she goes to reach for the handle, and she tries to open it, but it appears to be locked. And then after a moment, you can see that she knocks on the door. "Nim! Nim, open up! We need to speak." But there's currently like no response.
If you'd like, I can try to pick that lock there.
Oh, by all means, he's not supposed to lock himself in here anyway.
Can you explain what a Nimblewright is?
It's best if I show you.
Okay.
Go ahead and make a dexterity check with your thieves' tools. Okay. Yeah, actually, you take a few moments, and Valletta steps back as you lean down towards this lock, and from the other locks that you've picked before, this one appears to be pretty intricate. You're surprised that the door is so complex for it to be such a simple wooden door, but you manage to hear it click and release the latch, and you know that it's now open. And you watch as Valletta immediately like just kind of grabs the knob and pushes the door open and steps into the room. You all step inside to the room here, and you can see that up in this attic space, it is completely covered in various broken parts of wood and metal and all kinds of different scraps and materials, and you see that what appear to be like half completed projects in certain different areas, and you're just it's a little overwhelming to take at first. Like, how could anyone live in this giant trash heap of stuff. But you see that Valletta's just kind of standing there looking around the room, but looking a little confused. I do not see him anywhere. Nim! Nim, where are you? After a few moments, you all see what appears to be... Let me see if I can pull this up. You watch as curled up in a pile of broken refuse and parts and pieces of metal, what looks like at first is a suit of armor that completely stands upright, and you can see that he is wearing this deep red piece of cloth that seems to be draped from his neck down to the bottoms of his legs, almost towards his ankles. He kind of stands there, and Tizio, you're shocked and for a moment as you look at this creature, or you're not entirely sure what to make of it, but he looks to be completely made of metal. There does not appear to be any kind of like organic materials to him at all, and I'm gonna show you guys a picture. Let me know when you can see it.
I can see it.
And it's completely interesting because he doesn't have the sword, obviously. This is just a stock photo, but this entity, this being, it stands up and it steps out of the pile of trash that's seemingly covering this attic space, and you watch as it, in a human way, as a child being scolded, just kind of head down, stepping forward towards Valletta. A little bit of what you imagine are like the body gestures of a kid about to be yelled at. And you watch as Valletta kind of stands there, and she holds out the metal bird that you gave her. And you watch as he kind of shrinks back a little bit, or it shrinks back a little bit. And then you watch as it starts to move its hands in a rapid succession of what appear to be very specific movements. And then shortly after, you watch as Valletta responds, "You know you were not supposed to be creating anything, Nim. What do you think you were doing?" And then there's more hand gestures, and you start to gather that it seems that this creature can't speak. But it kind of looks over at the group of you, and you watch as it makes a hand gesture towards the three of you, and then Valletta goes, "Nim is what we call a nimblewright, a construct of sorts of both magical nature and that of physical creation. He is here within the confines of the temple as a gift from the Lantanese inventors. We have not known him to cause any undue harm to others. And he is extremely sorry. Aren't you, Nim?" And you watch as it kind of just slowly nods in your direction.
How puppet-like are his movements?
Watching him like rise up from out of the pile of rubble, it doesn't appear to be like a puppet on strings or anything like that. Like a normal puppet has the bulky arm movements. He has fluid movements. Like it moves just as well as Valletta or any of you are capable of moving, and you're watching as it's making intricate hand signs, as it appears to be using that as a way of communicating with Valletta.
I want to ask if it was here this morning.
Go on, Nim, answer them. And you watch as there's a series of hand movements, and then Nim nods slowly. And then Valletta looks back at you and says, Nim is bound to the temple. He cannot leave.
We're looking for something, maybe something like him, but not him. Something happened near our bar. We live in Trollskull Alley, and one of the buildings exploded. One of the the pedestrians, thought they saw on the roofline something that moved like a puppet without strings. We're hoping you might know something about such a thing.
They moved like one.
Yes.
So as you guys are saying this stuff, Valletta, like, her eyes widen, and she immediately looks back over to Nim, who is now, like, slowly backing away and kind of almost cowering a bit. And he looks at you, Eva, and he slowly nods, and then he points at himself, and then he continues to make some more sign language. And there's a brief pause as Valletta's just staring at him, eyes wide. And you watch as her jaw drops slightly. She looks back to the group of you and she goes, well, it seems that, while Nim cannot leave the grounds, he says that he built a Nimblewright just like himself to ease his loneliness. Nim, you are a fool for doing such a thing. And you watch as, like, it's now, like, kind of sitting on the floor with its knees tucked up into its chest.
We need to find it.
Would you be able to help us locate it?
There's more hand signs going between Valletta, and Valletta's translating to you guys. And in essence, what Valletta recites to you guys is that Nim created a Nimblewright similar in stature and size to himself. About a month ago, the creation was very confused and it fled in terror. He hasn't seen it since. And amidst this conversation, you watch as Valletta starts speaking some arcane words under her breath. And then you watch as a large number of other acolytes and priests start coming up the stairs, and kind of having, after a brief conversation with Valletta, they start immediately taking all of the stuff that was piled up in this room out of the building. And you watch as Valletta starts scolding him, like, profusely. This goes on for maybe about 20 or 30 minutes or so, and then after which there are just a few pieces of objects left around the room, and then Valletta goes back to Nim, who is now, like, if I could say crying, it would be, but you can see that it is extremely upset and sad, and it's just currently sitting there watching as all these acolytes start taking all of its stuff out of this room.
I feel bad now.
Look, it could just be an unfortunate coincidence, but we do need to find this thing. Is there... I think it's fairly obvious they don't eat, but is there something it might need? Something that might give us a clue as to where it would be?
So go ahead and make a... Hold on a second. Make a persuasion check. see if I have this item. Which, knowing me... Oh, I did! Haha! Okay, so... after a few minutes of speaking with Valletta and Nim, you watch as he stands up, and amongst one of the piles of rubble that was being shuffled out of his room, he just kind of rushes over and sticks his hand in and pulls out an object from the pile. And then you watch as the acolyte turns around and goes, Nim, give me that back! And there's a bit of a tussle, but then Nim immediately tries to rush behind Valletta and just kind of holds it out to her. And then she takes it, and then there's more communication between the two of them. And then there's a pause. And then she hands you this. What appears to be this 1 foot long copper contraption with an umbrella-like protrusion at the end. And Valletta says, Nim created a detector of sorts to attempt to find his creation. However, he says that when he tried to leave the grounds, he discovered that he was bound to it. Wasn't something that we thought we would need to make him aware of. But he says you can use this, and if that other Nimblewright is somewhere within the area, it will give you a signal.
So as soon as she holds it out, or he holds it out, whoever's handing it towards it, Ava's going to kind of like hold her hands out flat and like back up a step, like there's no way in hell I'm touching that thing, and kind of just look meaningfully at Tizia.
I'll take it.
Okay, yeah, you take it and you grab onto it, and you watch as Nim kind of like pushes onto the handle, and as he clicks it, the little umbrella on top starts, spinning and whirling, but it goes at a very slow pace right now. And Nim says that, through Valletta, that essentially it will get louder and faster the closer you are.
It's very helpful. We'll let you know what we find, and if it turns out that your creation was a part of what happened, then you couldn't have expected it. But if not, and it was a coincidence, we'll bring it back.
No, I do not want you to bring this back. If you find this creation, you destroy it. If you do so, I will give you 500 gold to destroy it.
If we find it, we will destroy it.
This is something
I want to have her ask Nim, like, why he thinks it may have gotten, like, scared and ran off.
Nim, he kind of... He looks a little deflated at the thought of it, and without trying to strike more fear into Valletta, he answers back, essentially saying he's not sure. He wanted a friend. He felt alone living in this attic, and he thought that making someone like him would fill that gap. But he's not sure if the creation is maybe imperfect, or maybe, like anything new, was unsure of its surroundings and instinctively just decided to flee.
Like, did you finish creating it and then it instantly ran off?
He would say no. It was with him for maybe about a week or so.
So then I want to ask Valletta then, like, is him just permanently stuck up here? Like, is he not allowed to roam?
He's allowed to roam within the confines of the grounds. He can go anywhere within the temple he wishes. He chooses to lock himself up here from time to time, and now I know why. He's been tinkering away on his own.
Will give you any idea why he feels so lonely?
I have no idea.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to message Nim.
You're gonna try to send a message to Nim in front of you?
Yeah. I'm curious if he can, because he understands the language clearly. Because Valletta's talking to him. Is Valletta talking to him just in common?
Yes, Valletta's talking to him in common. He's responding in sign language.
Yeah. So I don't know if in that situation he can respond mentally in common, or if he can't speak it, so he wouldn't be. I'm not sure, but she's gonna give it a shot. She's gonna try to do it a little subtly, like maybe step back behind Tizio so he's not calling attention to herself, and send a message of anything else that might be useful for us to know.
Oh, okay, cantrip, not the actual. Make a sleight of hand check. Okay. You watch as its head kind of tilts to the side, almost like a puppy for a moment at the curiosity of sounds are hitting his head without someone saying something, and he kind of looks over in your direction, and he starts to. You don't get a response back, but he starts to sign something to Valletta that says, he said if he had any more, he would give it to us. Whatever that means.
Understood.
And I apologize, I'm not sure if it was said before. How long has Nim been here? And if it hasn't been said, I'd like to ask.
Valletta takes a moment to try to think back about this. Nim has probably been here close to 50 years. You gather that through the conversation with Valletta, she explains that the Lantanese wizards, who are extremely excelled at creating inventions, when they traveled over to the Sword Coast and met with the House of Gond, gifted that Nimblewright as a kind of, here's a really good piece of technology. If you guys kind of replicate this stuff, as a welcoming token of appreciation for finding like-minded inventors. There were no specifications as to what he could do or what his job is. She just says that he's just here, bound to this area, and you gather the sense that Nim exists, but the priests and priestesses of the temple almost treat him like an object of sorts. There are rules and limitations, but they don't have these friendly conversations with him like they're buddies.
Seems like he's not being put to much use up here.
Or treated as well.
It is not my responsibility to make sure that he is put to use. We have many other things that we take care of within this temple. We are not babysitters.
Would you consider a Nimblewright, though, a gift from Gond?
She takes a moment to really think about the question.
Because as it stands here right now, it is a literal living metal man, and the reaction you gave for a metal bird when we first arrived, you would think you would have some sort of reverence for this thing instead of what appears to be complete disdain.
Do not
I've
get me
seen
wrong.
many.
I have no hatred towards Nim. He has helped us on many occasions. I feel that might have been foolish in hindsight now, as he has been slowly learning and teaching himself how to create things. If he had taken the opportunity to share that information with us, or that he was crafting at all, well then maybe I wouldn't be so, as you put it, disdainful. He has been doing things behind the house's back without us knowing. And clearly from what you were saying is that it has caused quite a bit of destruction within Waterdeep. Gond would never approve of such things. Nim knows this.
The way that he's bound to this place, is it something that can be moved? Is it something that we can use by others? I'm just thinking it would potentially be very helpful to have him in tracking down his creation. If you would be willing to allow him to accompany us, it would be a great help. I'm sure the City Watch would appreciate it, and he would be out of your hair for a while.
The magics that bind Nim to this temple are beyond my capabilities. It was done as part of the transfer from the Lantnese wizards to us. They are the ones who bound him to the confines of this temple and all that resides within it. I cannot undo such magics. He was built with the sole purpose of remaining here and assisting us, not to go off on his own ideals.
Assisting you with what?
The creation of new inventions. To be a reminder to us that Gond is ever present in our inventions, and to aspire to do great things for the city.
Do you know if he's his own person, or perhaps a like a mimic, or it's replicated somebody else that may have passed away or anything? Or if it was, you know, like a image of his creator?
Nim has been here for longer than I have been a part of this temple. I could not say whether he is a image of his creator or if he was built with any other intention of self-awareness. I have never met another Nimblewright in my life before. It is of rare quality indeed. However, it seems that he was given a gift of more intelligence than is probably best suited for him in his confines. We can work with him, but he needs to no longer be keeping things secret from us. And you watch as she kind of gives him another glare.
Would you say when you first met him, is his personality different from then to what it is now?
No, I've never seen him do anything that would cause harm to anyone before. I don't think he meant any harm to anyone. If he's truly saying that he was doing it for companionship or like-mindedness, misguided youth, I would say it would be. I don't think that his behavior has changed at all. He still frequents the chambers below, observes us in our tinkering, helps where he thinks he can. We've appreciated all he has done with us.
Nim,
But
is there a
he's
reason you
kept
don't?
as a prisoner.
He is a construct and a gift. Who is to say that he is a prisoner? He does not have a soul. He is a learned individual. Over time, constructs can be taught such things. It does not make him equal.
Would you consider a construct in the same regard as like a Warforged? Like, do Warforged exist in this universe? Or
Not. Warforged are not super common. They exist in the universe, but they, for purposes of our story, yes, they exist. You and she
Okay.
probably would never have met one yet,
Okay.
and that would be a conversation for later.
Is she saying these things about him, in front of him?
Yeah.
Is he? Can I, insight or whatever, if I can tell if he's being affected by like what she's saying about him?
Make an insight check. So, watching her speak about Nim almost subjectively, not, again, she's not addressing him as a person.
Correct. Yeah.
It has a name and it has a purpose, and you gather that he doesn't seem to be like offended or upset by what she's saying, but more or less by the fact that every time she's reprimanding him for creating things without permission is when he's just kind of like, shit. But other than that, I mean, it doesn't. It's hard to gauge, especially because all he really has is kind of like larger body motions. You can't really make out detailed facial expressions or see like sweat, perspiration, tears, things like that. He doesn't have that capability. But in the midst of this conversation, Valletta looks at the group of you and she goes, "Listen, if you were to ever come home to see your child making a mess, I'm sure you would be extremely upset at first too. But do not judge me and the rest of this temple based on the actions of one day. You've only just approached us."
You're absolutely right, and we have what we came here for. We will, of course, keep you appraised as to whether or not we find his creation.
I'd be dating myself a bit here. Was anyone ever watched like Star Trek Next Generation, the episode where Picard had to convince that Data was a human
Hell yeah.
or a living being?
Yeah, or Bicentennial Man. Shut up, Jesus. Yeah, that and Bicentennial Man, pretty awesome. But nevertheless, Valletta reminds you again, while you have all just met her, she's trusting that you guys would find and destroy this other malfunctioning creation, bring her proof of its destruction. The House of Gone will gladly pay you 500 gold to get rid of it. And she would also offer a magical item if you guys complete it.
What if we bring it alive?
I do not want
I'm
it alive.
sure.
If it
I'm
ran
sure you
off,
can use some of,
if
I'm
it
sure you can use some of that knowledge that Nim has made, to good use. Perhaps replicate it and or make it better, and Nim, you can teach Nim how to make it better.
make a persuasion check.
Sorry, I think it's lagging.
No problem. bajillion. So she looks at you, and she says,
I was with advantage, right?
triple, yeah, absolutely. She looks at you and she says, while knowledge to seek out and create new things is, of course, our #1 priority here in the House of Inspired Hands, from what you are telling me, Nim's creation is a murderer as well. It cannot survive, and if we were to harbor it, then it would be us that would have to pay when the City Watch discovers where it went. Justice must be served first. It needs to be destroyed.
Of course. And if we find that it was part of this, we'll destroy it.
Thank
Can
you.
I, you know, I guess with Nim's permission, get close to him and inspect him to see if I see, or if I can tell if it, what's like his power source, I guess, like if it's something magical or if it's, I don't know, some sort of heat source or something, like.
You can make a persuasion check at disadvantage, because the group of you have been berating a priest you just met, and now you want to inspect Nim.
I mean, technically, only I have been the one berating her.
Well, there goes that.
This is true,
Well,
but I
not even
mean,
better.
you all came together, so, you know, group actions have group consequences.
I wrote it for the rest of us.
Yeah, you guys do not like her. She shakes her head and she says, prove that you are worth more than just your words. Take action and find this other Nimblewright and bring it to me. Destroyed. And then maybe you will have more ground to stand on than your accusations.
I think it's time to go, Tizio.
Yeah, just, give me 1 minute. I'm gonna reach into my bag and try to like make a couple different things, and I'm gonna look at Nim and kind of guess what he would sound like if he had a voice, and I'm gonna try to mimic that into like a little box, and I'm not sure if I can do this. Kind of like a box with like a little button. And every time he presses it, it's just gonna say, I am Nim, with my magical tinkering.
So you can repeat words, or I thought it was only sounds? You can shed bright light. Oh, whenever tapped by a creature, the object emits a recorded message.
Yeah, no longer than 6 seconds long.
Right, right. Okay, so you're going to attempt to make a voice that sounds like Nim? Like you're gonna...
Yeah, it's kind of like if he had a voice, like what I would think he would sound like.
Okay, so you watch as... How long does this take to cast?
It's a minute.
Okay.
With an object, I believe.
Sure.
Or no, I'm sorry. Technically, it's a magic. I can turn something that's not magical into this on a touch, I believe. Yeah, as an action.
Okay, so as an act, so it doesn't take a minute. Okay, yeah, so you reach in, what are you going to give him? Just like a box,
just like
a box with a
yeah,
button?
yeah, something, it's kind of, I went kind of clearish, I guess, where you can kind of see, gears or something like that within it.
Mm-hmm.
If I can.
Okay. Yeah, you can definitely do that. Well, there are different things. Like you can have a recorded message, like a repeater stone or whatever it's called, or an actual sound. But yeah, he can totally do that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
so then I'll do that and I'll present it to him, and I'll leave you here with this. And just let him know that I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I hope you enjoy it for the time that you have it.
Okay. Yeah, and you watch as he holds out both of his hands, and he kind of looks a little timidly at Valletta, who just kind of nods and lets him do it. And then he takes it and he inspects it and he starts looking around at it. He watches, he clicks the button. He goes, "Ch-ch. I am Nim. Ch-ch. I am Nim." And he just starts doing that over and over. And like he's extremely fascinated by it.
You have an annoying toy.
I am Nim. But nevertheless, Valletta doesn't seem angered by it, and she sees how it operates, and she's like okay with him having it.
Cool. And I guess we're on our way out. I guess.
Okay, cool. So at
So we
that,
bid our farewells.
yeah, and Valletta graciously says her farewells as well as she escorts you all down from the clock tower's attic, for lack of a better word, out through the front doors and then back out into the larger courtyard of the House of Inspired Hands here in the Sea Ward. And that's where we'll take a quick break. Back here in 5-8 minutes.
Sounds good.
All right. Then we will jump over to the house and see what Perry is doing. See you all back in a few minutes.
Hello?
Alright, 1, 2, that's 3. Let me know when everyone else is back.
Come here. Is that hilarious Nimblewright detector image like part of the
Yeah,
of the
that's what it
official
looks
campaign
like.
setting?
Yep. That is, Nim created that on his own as a means of trying to find his own creation. But then
Free Nim.
he found out that yeah, hashtag free Nim. That's when he found out that he was unable to leave the grounds.
It looks terrifying.
The object?
Yeah, it looks like some sort of like horrible piece of dentistry equipment. I'm considering trying to convince Ellis we're going to use it on him.
I thought it looked cool.
It's got a serious cyberpunk vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was muted. I am back.
Okay.
I think it's just vaguely threatening. Like, what is that? What is that umbrella for? It has those two little like claw pieces that look like can openers.
That's how you know when it's working.
It keeps it dry when it's raining.
Yeah, it like spins around and stuff, like a little merry-go-round type thing.
Love it.
I'm back.
All right, Ellis, you back?
500 feet is actually a pretty generous distance, though.
The city is huge.
Still, a tenth of a mile. It beats randomly running around with something like Detect Magic and hoping.
Yeah, you're not even sure if Detect Magic would work on Nim.
Correct.
As a funny note, though, because as you clicked on it in Nim's presence, it didn't activate when Nim was standing right there. It just whirled slowly.
Did notice that? I kind of just assumed he designed it that way. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to use it.
It's a good
It's
Oh, I
assumption.
read it in the description.
Yeah, it
so
does
I
say
figured
in
it
the
would do it.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Though we haven't technically cast Identify on it, so
No, you haven't.
maybe it don't work.
We'll just wander the city holding that prominently up in the air and see what happens.
Okay, so everyone back? Ellis, you back? Did I put him to sleep?
What's up?
Yep.
You were really quiet and kind of cutting out.
Oh, I was saying I
Yeah,
didn't.
I'm back.
Oh, there you go. Yay.
Yep.
I was wondering if I put you to sleep. Sorry.
Oh no, I was writing stuff down, not only paying half attention.
No problem. Okay, so Calarian, Tizio, Eva, you three were the only ones that went over to the House of Inspired Hands, right? Everyone else went back over towards your house.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Perry, Talum, and Ellis, which one of you want to make a D100 roll for me?
Sure.
We get murdered.
By another shambling mound?
Nah, I think we'd beat the shambling mound.
Just the three of you?
And I know I at least would escape.
Nice. Okay. So, as the group of you all had parted your way, with half the party heading over towards the Sea Ward and the rest of you heading back home, walking along the high road, making your way towards the house, you guys are actually stopped from crossing one of the main intersections as a large caravan with what appears to be a very eloquently dressed individual in deep red garbs is currently being escorted or walking with about 16 or so guards. And you can see that he is like in the center of these individuals, and he's just kind of lackadaisically just kind of like looking at different shops and pointing at things and asking questions to what appears to be like some sort of like advisor or assistant that's at his side. Not too much really catches your attention other than the fact that he's wearing solid deep red maroon colors, completely shaven head, a few tattoos on the side, but he just seems to be minding his own business. You guys are kind of pushed off to the side as you have to make way for them and their party as they walk along, but then nevertheless you guys are free of obstruction afterwards and can proceed onward.
So you said he's wearing red robes, bald
Yep.
and tattooed head?
Mm-hmm.
Cap.
But shortly within 20 or 30,
Wait.
yes.
Can I have my familiar just follow him about up in the air?
Are you being stealthy about it?
I mean, it's a bat. It can like hide on the roofs and stuff.
Sure, it certainly can. Are you being stealthy about it?
Yeah.
Make a stealth check with the bat's dexterity. I just want to be clear.
Sure. Dexterity. 11.
11. Okay. Noted. You guys make your way back towards Trollskull Manor to find the now quieter surroundings opposing the extremely chaotic morning that you guys originally had. You do see that there are probably 2 or 3 guards stationed around the street, primarily cordoning off the house itself that had been destroyed in that blast. You see that they're just trying to make people give a wide berth to that section, directing people to cross the road as needed, not really letting anyone up nearby. But other than that, most of the affairs and going on in the street are resuming as normal. But you are able to make your way back into Trollskull Alley without issue. What do you guys want to do?
It's the back towards the private eyes place and see.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Head back to the back behind Troll Skull, where the private eye lives, the detective lives?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
See if he's there.
Okay. So you walk over towards Vincent's home and you knock on the door a few times as you watch the gentle breeze that's kicking up in the middle of this mid-afternoon day, early spring or late spring day, just kind of blows the elaborate sign, the pair of cat eyes in the air. A few moments pass. There's no answer.
Yell his name, maybe.
You sound very muffled, I'm sorry.
Knock on the door, maybe a little harder, and yell his name.
Okay. Yeah. You rap on the door a little harder, and you shout out for Vincent, and you wait maybe 1 to 2 minutes. Currently, unfortunately, no response.
Well, that was a waste of time. Must be out doing stuff. Any ideas?
Not related to this, but I do have a slightly unrelated mission I wouldn't mind some help on.
Sure.
Wait for the rest of the party to come back, though.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna go speak to a guard. And see if they heard anything else.
Sure. Yeah, you approach one of the 3 guards that are just kind of like posted up around the building to the north there on Saradoon Street, and you see one of them is a human female, long black hair, just like auburn looking eyes, and she's just wearing not City Watch attire, but from your previous experience over in the dock ward, this appears to be a city guard who's just currently, she appears to be in her late 20s, early 30s, and she's just standing there with a longsword sheathed on one side and what appears to be like a helm just kind of tucked under her arm as she kind of sees you as you approach and goes, excuse me, please don't get too close. This area is still closed off for investigation.
Yes, no, meaning no harm. We live right here, you see, Troll Skull Manor. I'm just concerned about the explosion. Have you heard anything about what happened?
Everything is currently under investigation and being taken care of by the City Watch, and the City Guard has been posted here as a means of keeping the area safe until the investigation is complete. Unfortunately, we do not share that information with the local populace.
Of course.
I guess we'll wait for the rest of the party to show up.
Okay. And they do. It probably takes about hour and a half or so, getting later in the afternoon now, when the rest of the party makes their way back to Troll Skull Manor. The rest of you kind of enter in through the doors, and you see Ellis seems to be a little irritated, and Perry seems a little distraught with not having gotten too far in his half of the search, but nevertheless you guys see them just kind of loitering about inside the tavern.
I will inform them of what we found.
Did they give you any hint on where to look, or just the detector?
Just the detector.
Needle
Better than nothing.
Needle in a haystack, but we'll do our best.
Well, it's probably reasonable to assume a man made out of metal is not going to be wandering around the streets. That would be kind of stand out, I would think.
do we want to start next to the what's his name's, the carpenter's shop, and then work our way east, since that's the direction he was headed, right?
Well, that's been so long that who knows if there's anything there. But if there's anything about picking up residual traces, it's just when we get within a certain range.
Well, I mean, if we don't have any other leads, we might as well hold down the trigger and walk down the streets until we get a buzz.
Could be. Didn't get very far.
Yeah, definitely.
Suppose.
I mean, unless you guys have a better way of finding him. That's a needle in a haystack is just one piece of hay at a time until we find the needle.
You can always light the stack on fire.
Are you suggesting we burn down Waterdeep?
And then we'd have
that
no
would
problem
solve
at all.
all our problems.
Harry, inspect the device.
Sure. What are you trying to glean from it?
What if it even functions? Because it looks like a mass probably to parry.
Go ahead and make an intelligence check.
Oh, jeez.
So, what time is it right now?
I'd probably say around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
All right.
I mean, this is a complex piece of equipment, and it is extremely odd in its shape and design, and you kind of look at it and you're just like, what the hell's the point of the umbrella? There's so many other things they could use as a signal, but you're not really you feel like you don't see any kind of damage or things that would make it not function. When you depress on the trigger, it begins to whirl slowly. The umbrella starts to twirl. It has a slight ringing sound to it, but it seems to be very faint at the moment. It appears to function.
Does that mean it's working if it's whirling around? Is it close power?
One would assume.
However close it needs to be.
It's not like making any of the noise or anything like that any different than when we tried it out at the temple place, correct?
Correct. Just the slow, faint humming of like.
I don't know if you said that. How long is it? Is it like 2 feet long or something?
No, it's like what's the thing say? Like a foot. It's a foot
Oh,
long.
a foot. Okay.
Yeah. Not super big.
Gotcha.
Probably shortly after, while you guys are sitting here conversing about what to do next, you do see Floon as he now arrives within the tavern, and he kind of sees the group of you standing there mulling over the contraption, and he goes, afternoon, everyone.
But does Flute know about the explosion yet?
He does not. He kind of looks around the group of you and he goes, what happened over there?
Explosion.
I think someone let a fireball loose.
My word, is any of you hurt?
No, there's a little bit of damage to our building, though.
God damn it, we just fixed that.
Yep.
Well, as long as none of you are hurt. Have you eaten anything all day?
Probably.
We went in the sewers, so I mean, whatever happened to floating in our mouths, you know?
Sounds like y'all need something to eat. Hold on, I'll get something ready.
If it's going to gag, remembering falling in the water.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
So Floon kind of like you see as he's like walking back towards the kitchen area, he is looking at the group of you, and he's just kind of like, eyeing the curious object that you guys have in your hands, and he just, but doesn't say anything. He just kind of looks at it and then wanders off. Starts preparing you. Maybe 20 or so minutes in, you start smelling fried fish in the air.
There might be someone else knows about nimble rights. Is there a chance to do there any more in the city? Anyone else who might be able to help?
From what you told me, it sounded like it was a gift from far away, and the only one they know of is the one he built.
A land I've never heard of.
Oh yeah, would I recognize the name of the place?
Lantan?
I suppose I do have a proficiency in history, so maybe I might have heard of it. I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead and make history checks for whoever wants to hear about the coast of Lantan.
Well, okay.
Oh, I love this group. We always roll good on history checks.
That just
Okay, I
means
was
more
rolling
lore.
just to have a terrible number in there, and I don't even know what happened.
Everybody over 20 is badass, which is surprising, but makes sense for the group of you to have paid attention, especially you, Calarian, being from another country. You are used to looking at geographies. Tizio just being the bookworm that he is, and Eva, you've heard about it from study abroad. Lantan is an island nation in the Trackless Sea, north of the Chultan Peninsula, far away from the Sword Coast. Primarily known for its advanced technology, and its population is heavily devout worshippers of Gond. That is beautiful. Ellis wouldn't roll that. Let's see here. The island itself is separated into 3 separate islands, and they have they have the technology set up so that there are these extensive bridges of transport between the islands. Most of the islands are rocky and covered with lush jungle, but they have built their civilization within the lush forest in itself. There are stone pinnacles rising up from the trees, and very thick plant growth that covers the dense forest, just because Chult is so close nearby. Yeah. Tizio, I would say that you specifically would know that smoke powder is very common in Lantan.
Out of curiosity, are we in a timeline where the spell plague has hit already?
Post spell plague, yes.
Lantan doesn't exist post spell plague. Not on Toril, at least.
It does now.
I mean, it doesn't mean that it's not Lantanese people, but I guess the country was wiped out and sent over to Abir.
I will get clarification on that. But it was recorded in history of its location and general information about it. You guys were also told that the Nibelrite has been there for a large number of years.
Yeah, I was just going to say 50 years. How long ago was spell plague in this?
Spell plague was over 100.
Oh, then. Never mind that.
Time traveling Lantanese.
Or it's just not on the islands at the time.
Well, let me check.
Or they didn't get wiped out because...
No. So, let's see.
Yeah, it says when the spell plague erupted in 1385 DR, the sudden shifting of continental bodies sent tsunamis all along the island coastal regions of Faerun. Devastating them all, Lantan was hit harder than most. Before the waves reached the island, all the smoke powder and magical reagents in Lantan exploded at the same time, causing great chaos. And as the waves reached the coastline, most of Lantan was engulfed by the spell plague and sent to Abir.
Yep. And
what remained of Lantan was on Toril was flooded, killing the rest.
Yeah, these are all factual things. and you guys would have known this information from your history checks about the continent itself, or the islands, I should say. So as far as you can tell, I mean, you knew of Lantan, but then you also knew that that entire island system was torn asunder because of the spell plague.
Did I throw a wrench in things?
No.
Could be anything. Could be the priest was lying. Could be that the people who brought the Nimblewright were lying to the priests.
Well, let's just say that they weren't living on Lantan at the time.
How about we run about the city with our new little detector thingy?
Would we want to wait? Hell, I don't know, because we're opening for in a business few hours.
I mean, I'll go run around with the detector. You can stay here and serve drinks.
Could we make that any easier? She's gonna glance at Harry and Tizio. Could we replicate this thing?
I wouldn't know how to begin to replicate it. I'd have to tear it apart just to figure it out.
In 1487 DR, Lantan was returned to Torvel as part of the Second Sundering. The Lantanese ships began to travel to the Sword Coast. People who traded with them said that the Lantanese were more secretive than before, and that their technology was more advanced as well.
So what you're saying is I probably should have read further.
But boom! Anyway, good stuff. It's all in there somewhere. Nevertheless, you guys know it existed at some point.
Well, if we do decide to go walking, I propose a destination.
Where would that be?
Heart of the City of the Dead.
I guess we can walk around. I'm gonna let Balloon know though that we're probably not gonna be around for business tonight, and let us know how it goes, if it's crazy or not.
Sure, absolutely, not a problem. Here, you guys, at least eat something before you head out. And you watch as he's like in the middle of serving out various what is cooked fish. He fried it up. It's still like, you know, whole fish that's been like gutted and cleaned out, and then fried to a crisp, you know, tender and crisp, and it flakes off a bit when you go to bite into it, but it smells delightful. And then he kind of looks over at the group of you, and he's like, what in the hell is that thing?
It's a long time.
It's a school project I'm working on.
Very tiny umbrella.
Make deception checks. Tizio.
I mean, I'm not really
Eva.
trying to deceive.
I know, but you're also.
I just said it's a long time.
No, not you, because it's Eva said it's a tiny umbrella, and Tizio said it's a pet project. Okay.
She was joking.
Fair enough. Yeah, and Flume kind of chuckles at you a bit and just kind of looks at you guys and shrugs it off. He goes, well, whatever it is, I don't know. And he just kind of walks back off. You watch as he starts preparing things for the night, and he did acknowledge you, sorry, Calarian, that he's like, yeah, if anything goes wrong, he'll let you know, but he's hopeful that Kelso and Vanessa can handle the flow.
Is it wise to go in the middle of the night? I at least am a bit exhausted from our adventure in the sewers.
It's not even evening yet. We're just going on a walkabout.
It's only like 2 in the afternoon right now.
As you'd like.
And even if we find it, we don't have to engage. Just know a general area.
So what's the plan?
So let's go walking.
Okay.
Toward the city of the dead?
That is the destination Talon would like to go to, but open to other options.
Hey, why does he want to go to City of the Dead?
Well, I got some information that my old mentor might have left some information there. It's a long story.
Right.
It might be nothing.
Well, it's a long walk.
That's true.
And we don't really have a solid directions.
Yeah, we can, meander, take some side streets, cover the top quadrant of the city. Looks like on the way there and the way back, we should be able to cover the whole area if we walk in a creative way.
They didn't mention like the range this would work at, did they? Or Nim didn't say anything.
500 feet is what Nim said
Okay.
in translation. It's also in the item itself, which should be in your...
It's in the player handouts, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you assume I read.
I mean, I give you all the benefit of the doubt all the time.
Point back to the Lantan debacle.
I give you the benefit of the doubt all the time. So, for purposes of this, since you guys are meandering through the city, specifically, which route are you guys trying to take to get to the City of the Dead? Because if you guys are trying to walk with the nimble right out, I would like to know. Because it matters.
So you're saying
Oh,
don't go down the high road?
Well, so here's the thing. If you guys want to take time scouring the wards, we can do that. It'll probably take you a day per ward to scour the wards.
So it's a 500-foot radius, right?
The map's not 100% accurate.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Wait, have we technically left Ghost Call yet?
Nope. You're
Okay,
all
I want
kinda...
to...
Go ahead.
Before we go low, I want to leave Floon a message that if I can't remember our halfling player name.
Kelso or Vanessa?
Vanessa. If tonight is crazy and when she thinks we need more help, leave recommendations. We can hunt him down.
He nods and understands, and will definitely let you know.
Okay.
So, which route are you guys going?
Down the high road?
Sure, if you want.
Why not?
Just go down the high road, then go all the way down to Coffin March? Is that what this is?
So could we like devise a system to like obscure it a little? Maybe like put it in a robe or something in a backpack and just pull the lever from inside the backpack?
Bag of holding.
It would not work from inside that.
You just keep it like partially out and put under the crook of your arm or something. I don't know. I don't know the inner workings of a bag of holding.
I think you just hold it under a cloak. Feels like that's be
Yeah,
alright.
something like that. Can we just obscure it a little so it's not super obvious?
I mean, it's bright and colorful. It's a foot long. I mean, you can certainly try.
We can disguise it as like a push cart.
Just worried about getting odd
It
glances.
has a little lever, so we can have it where like that's on the handle of the push cart type thing.
Might attract some unwanted attention, Barry. You never know.
Oh.
We could always just carry it running through the city. That sounds fun. Mary Poppins.
I can play a lute while we walk along, and we'll pretend it's part of a show.
I've been to New York. They don't care.
Good point.
We're gonna pretend it's a show. I'm gonna stand back about 100 feet.
Okay.
Oh, I could make it float down with Mage Hand. That would just be funny. Mage Hand's invisible.
For a minute, yeah.
It's a cantrip, you know. You just kind of.
Sure. And then when it drops, you'll have to catch it with the Mage Hand cantrip. Absolutely.
Hopefully it's not fragile.
I mean, I could just hold it in my hand.
You could do it with the Mage Hand. That'd be fun.
I think
It won't
I think
attract
the Mage Hand
attention at all. A floating metal object, yeah.
I mean, you know.
I'm
fun.
for it. I encourage it. Alright.
Also, it seems like I could just. Yeah, I mean, well, we can just carry it. That sounds like extra it'd work.
Sure. Yeah, I
Should I
mean,
maybe carry it because people seem to look at me and like just want to nope out
Sure.
the racists?
You're also just big and scary.
Yeah.
I mean, like Perry said, it is kind of like New York, where unless you're coming out of sewer manholes in the middle of the street, you know, people tend to just kind of like leave other people alone. You guys get a couple looks here and there because you're all carrying armor and weapons, which is not what most Water Davians do. So generally, people just try to give all of you a bit of berth. Calarian, they give you a bit of a larger berth just because you're in full freaking plate.
Shame though. One day I'll have plate,
Sure,
but that's expensive.
it is.
Best way to get played is to kill someone wearing it.
And then a guard's wearing plate nearby?
Make a perception check.
I am absolutely joking.
Oathbreaker.
It's happening.
Alignment shift.
There are actually the 3 city guard are wearing plate.
Yeah, there is no way I would be able to theoretically kill them, take their shit, and get out of there before I would be overrun and straight murdered in the street rolling a new character.
It's a brilliant way to go out, though.
I mean, you can
Blaze
try.
of glory. You can certainly try.
Ellis would definitely help.
And Ellis would die with me and roll a new character.
I think I could talk one of them out of his armor for you.
Just so you're aware, Agaron's statue is right here.
That is the destination.
Ava will follow closely behind with an impromptu rendition of a song she is inventing on the spot titled The Dragonborn with the Shiny Stick.
Alright, I like it.
That sounds suggestive.
It'll get more suggestive as she runs out of other ideas.
Correction, right here. Okay, so what's the plan, guys? What street are you going down? Just the high road and cutting over?
Main Street. Let's go.
Alright. So, you all eat your early dinner, late afternoon lunch. You pick up your belongings, and you start making your way towards the City of the Dead. Heading straight out of Trollskull Alley into the North Ward itself. As you guys are just... Who's carrying the Nibblewright detector? Just Calarian?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're just kind of holding it the whole time, just trying to use it?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Okay. Oh.
No, can you repeat what you said?
Oh, I
didn't
said,
hear.
are you just like using the Nibblewright detector the entire time you're traveling?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, so you guys just you head out over towards the high road, the familiar foot traffic, just following that major path. Go ahead and roll D100 for me, as I keep coughing to death. All right. Okay. So, as you guys press forward down the high road, heading to the southern part of Waterdeep, just walking past the general populace and citizenry, no one really gives you any kind of looks or glare other than just to give you a bit of a wider berth, and especially on the high road itself, the cobblestone streets themselves for walking purposes are a bit wider than the side streets that you guys normally travel down. So it's a lot easier for you guys to traverse without bumping shoulders or getting in anyone's way. As such, while you guys are walking, you do happen to see Rishal on the opposite side of the high road heading north, in what you imagine would be the direction of Trollskull Alley, this time with a large metal disc that is currently floating behind him with a stack of books. He kind of
that's the wizard dude, right?
That is. And he kind of looks over to the group of you across the street, and the streets themselves on the high road is extremely long, so you could fit 4 carriages side by side, and that would take like the entire width of the street that carts drive on, and then you have the sidewalks. So you're talking like very wide, New York City block kind of thing. But nevertheless, Rishal kind of sees you all amongst the crowd, especially you, Calarian, because you just kind of stand taller than the rest, and he just kind of gives a wave over to the group of you, and then he sees you, Talum, in the middle somewhere, and he just kind of like waves at you, and then he just points with his thumb back towards the disc, and you hear him like shout out something, but among the carriages and people talking, conversing, you can't really make out what he said.
I just give him a thumbs up.
Yeah, and you see like he kind of leans back a little bit and chuckles and holds onto his belly, and then just keeps on walking. But you guys continue on towards the castle ward, and then hooking that left. All the while just looking at this Nimblewright detector, and it hasn't made any change in the slow whirling sound that it's been making since you activated it, Calarian. Currently, you're not getting the sense of it picking up anything at the time. And then as you guys cross over onto, we'll say Selduth Street or so, making your way over towards the City of the Dead, you see outstretched before you long black metal fencing that surrounds the entirety of this, what appears to be on the other side, pardon me, what appears to be on the other side, a very lush greenscape with these large monoliths and statues scattered all throughout the city. You see, as you guys approach closer and closer towards the gates, that the one gate in particular that you guys are crossing by appears to have 2 City Watch Guard that are currently just posted up on the outside. They look at you as you all approach, and they just kind of nod in your direction, but nevertheless let you pass. And then as you guys all make your way through, they just kind of look back and remind you, remember, the place closes after dark, so be gone before then, right?
Gotcha.
We definitely knew that. Yes.
You've been warned. And nevertheless, you guys make your way further into... I'm going to show you a visual. Let me know when you can see it.
We can see it.
Cool. So
what happens if we are here after dark?
I mean, you're welcome to find out.
Are the guards wearing full plate?
No. These guards are wearing leather. The browns and yellows that are reminiscent of City Guard.
I forgot there were like 8 different factions who all protect the city. It's very...
So, what you first notice is that these long, winding dirt paths appear to be traversed quite a bit as you guys make your way through this large garden of sorts. You can see mausoleums in all directions and various different statues throughout this graveyard. You see that there are a number of patrons that are in the process of entering or exiting certain mausoleums, or you see some that are standing next to trees and conversing solemnly amongst themselves. A lot of them are wearing solid black colors and robes. Go ahead and make an investigation check, Talum, to attempt to find the statue that you don't know where it is. Nice. So, thankfully, with a bit of luck on your side, or you're not sure if there's just some kind of nagging behind your head, but you feel pulled in a certain direction, and as you kind of turn right and start wandering through the city, or this graveyard, you start walking past various different statues of heroic looking figures. You see some taller marble structures, some smaller, and as you walk past and get closer inspection on these things, you can see that it appears that all of these mausoleums contain the bodies of those past and deceased. You're not seeing any like headstones or tombstones. It doesn't appear like anyone in this graveyard has been buried or interned underground. They are all above ground. And you can see, for lack of the dark undertones of it being a graveyard and the somberness of the environment, it's still a beautiful looking place. And relatively quickly, within like the first hour or so, sorry, I keep coughing. Within the first hour or so, you quickly find a very tall stone statue, almost similar to one that you guys saw in the Hero's Garden, of a slender human male with a very prominent beard coming down to a point on his chin, long wavy hair, and what appears to be a very flowing robe. And in one hand is a open tome, and in the other a large staff that, upon closer inspection, you look at it and it looks very similar to that of the black staffs.
So, do we know the history of this guy from having listened to Volo when he showed us around the city?
Yes, and as you look at the statue itself, you see that upon the base of the pedestal where the statue is there's an engraving that says Agaron, and then there's a bit of what appears to be like a quotation or something there that says, "There shall come a time when our city and its deep water bay shall grow in fame and fortune across many realms and many worlds. Folk shall know of Waterdeep, our city of splendors, and sing in its praise. I have seen it thus, and I endeavor to make it true. Agaron."
April will stop singing suggestive songs.
And it's like a room you can go into, or just
No,
a statue?
this is probably a 9-foot tall statue of Agaron, one of the former Blackstaffs of Waterdeep. You stand there and you stare at it, and you kind of stare down at the piece of paper in your hand, and you look back up at it, and this is what Barnabas wrote on that parchment.
Does it look like there's any markings on the statue, or can I try to cast Detect Magic or something?
Sure, make a investigation check. Okay. And as you pop Detect Magic and you take a look around at the statue, other than the few items that are emanating from your friends, it's not giving off any magical aura. You're not seeing any glyphs or inscriptions or any kind of secret levers or buttons, unfortunately.
What are you looking for,
this-
Thalen?
So, my old mentor, who sent me here a while back, I don't really know why he sent me here, but I asked Barnabas if anybody by his name had ever registered, and he turned up a Zion, which isn't really the same name. His name's Ixon, but it had this location, and I was just curious if I could find anything. But I'm not seeing anything turn up. So, unless anybody else has got some ideas, I don't really... Guess it was a bust.
At this location, isn't this statue?
Yeah, as his address, I think. Or place he registered as a wizard at.
You would recall Barnabas said it was strange that they listed a statue as a place of address.
Maybe cast a spell.
Well, I cast Detect Magic. It didn't turn up anything. Do you mean like on the statue?
Yes. People clean. Clean people.
Oh, prestidigitation.
Sure.
I'll try that.
Okay. What effect are you trying to put on it?
Just clean it up a bit, I guess, since I don't really know what else to do.
Okay. So you cast Prestidigitation. And let's see, you're passive. No. Eva and Perry. As you're kind of just staring up at this statue, Perry, it's a well-crafted statue. It's been well maintained over these years too. You're not entirely sure how long it's been here, but Eva, you're kind of absentmindedly staring around at the scenery, and then your eyes just kind of lock on the statue's eyes. And with this statue being extremely tall and up on a pedestal, it probably reaches maybe in total like 9 or 10 feet tall. And you watch as Talum is just carefully sifting away any dirt and dust that it might have been kicked up on it, and you see, and you're not sure if you actually saw it or not, but like the faintest flash of some kind of color or something near the eyes, but it's gone almost before you blink and realize it, and you're not sure entirely what the hell you saw.
Did you see the eyes? Look at the eyes.
Something happened. I don't know what it was.
Harry's gonna try and climb it.
Sure.
Ava will cast Prestidigitation on it, and it doesn't need to be cleaned anymore, so she'll just faint musical notes. She'll just play a little ditty around it.
Okay. You cast Prestidigitation and nothing happens. The sounds of faint musical notes emanate around you.
Well, it doesn't seem to like me.
Do you have any other spells you might be able to use on it? Maybe only one spell works or something? Like it works only once? I don't know.
I will attempt to message the statue and say, "Anyone in there?"
1 second.
As the guards come and arrest us all for messing with the statue.
You
Oh, it was clean.
You cast message pointing it at the statue. It doesn't respond to you, Eva. And now you're almost starting to doubt yourself, like, was it a trick of the light? It was like the faintest, like, yellowish green. You're not entirely sure what it was, but it seemed to almost come from, like, the eye itself, but it was hard to see at this angle because it's so high up.
No, nothing for me. Down. Try casting something else on it.
Well, cast light on it maybe? Or on the finger of it or something? I don't know if I can reach something.
Yeah, I mean, you can reach the statue and touch it. You'd have to climb up a little bit to reach its hands. You tap on the statue a little bit and you cast light, and the light spell activates and it starts to shine out a bit of light. But Perry, you climbing up on it, Eva, you looking at it, no change.
Can I like get close enough to the eyes that?
Yeah, I would say you're up high enough to kind of stare at it, like face to face if you wanted. And you were watching as they were casting various spells on it. You didn't see a change.
Can I cast Identify on it?
Sure, as an action.
Yeah, it's ritual. We got 10 minutes.
Where are the eyes looking?
They are looking southeast, as if looking out on the horizon.
And they're like level, they're not pointed at the ground or anything?
No, the head appears to be level, as if the person were looking straight on, like out in the distance.
Gotcha.
It doesn't appear to be looking like down at the ground.
Gotcha. Clarion, how's your rod?
You take a look at it.
Personal.
You take a look at the Nimblerite detector, and it is still just making the slow, faint whirling sound that it was making the entire trip. But, with that being said, we will pick this up next week and see where it goes.
Oh man.
Matt.
Just remember, if all else fails, we should probably just break the statue.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Next up,
Yeah.
we throw 2 fireballs at it.
Mm-hmm.
Did that end well?
I mean,
Yeah.
you wanted free plate armor, so
I mean, I said I'd get it eventually. I didn't say anything about free.
true.
Yeah, Ava's got suggestions. She can convince someone to just give you plate armor.
Oh my god.
I mean, if you want.
I don't know. That's gonna be a rough suggestion. Hopefully it works.
I am not culpable if I'm not part of the crime.
Multiple deniability.
I like it. You see now that there's a couple people kind of staring at you guys as Perry's climbing on top of the statue. Some of them are shaking their heads, but
Don't look at our rod.
good session, everybody.
All right.
So
See
we will-
y'all's next week.
Yeah,
See you next
we'll
week.
pick this up next week and see where this takes us or doesn't.
Cool.
Thank you all for playing. I appreciate it.
Thanks all.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, have a good night, guys.
Yeah, you too.
Have a good one.